Tap strafing is one of the fundamental techniques of movement in the school of the Otter. Using this movement technique will allow you to gain the most out of the more advanced movement techniques and chain combo your movement like no other, while also unlocking maximum flow. The tap strafe is also a great way to retain your momentum as you move about the map, and in many cases may save your life. Tap strafing was introduced to the community relatively recently thanks to Moki Sniper about 9 months ago when he made this video. Back then, tap strafing was considered a hidden, useless, niche technique, but with the increase of pro players using that technique in competitive play, there have been calls to have it removed. Some professional Apex players even are going as far as calling it cheating. As such, some would call this the forbidden movement technique. Tap strafing is an old speedrunning technique stemming from Titanfall, which is called lurching. Titanfall is the game Apex Legends is based on and built on with the same engine, and it could be considered a staple of movement in this engine. Also, excuse my voice, I'm still really sick. I've been sick for about 1.5 weeks. But if you do find this video helpful, remember to hit the like button on the video, and of course, make sure to subscribe to not only catch my daily uploads, but any School of the Otter guides in the future. Like many techniques, tap strafing is a practice of consistency, and it takes time to master, but once you get it down, it comes naturally. So how do you do it? At its core, in order to pull off a tap strafe, you will need to be able to spam forward inputs at a very fast pace, either by mashing your forward key, default W, or a control stick if you're on a controller. What most PC players do, which nets them the most consistency, is binding their scroll wheel to the forward input, allowing them to simulate tons of forward input in a short amount of time. Personally, I have the upward scroll set to W, and the downward scroll I've bound to jump. This is for wall hops and timings, but I'll cover the jump scroll in another guide. I really cannot stress the importance of setting up the scroll wheel enough. Once you have set this up, all you need is some forward momentum. There are 2 parts you need to do in tandem. Firstly, gain forward momentum by walking or running. In this example, I slide jump. Now on your keyboard hand, let go of the forward key and hit the key in the direction you would want to go. In this case, I let go of W and then instantly transfer over to A for a smooth tap strafe. Now, at the same time with the other hand, as soon as you let go of W, you will jump using the scroll wheel, and as soon as you've hit the jump, you counter the movement by scrolling the other direction and continue scrolling as you turn your mouse until you hit the angle where you want to stop. Now, what I cannot show you guys in this view is the most important part, and where most aspiring tap strafers always fail: the timing of the jump and the timing of where the tap strafe begins. This is the rhythm I've taught myself. Practice a scroll jump followed by an instant tap strafe. Eventually, it will come as a second nature as you continue practicing. It's very important that you keep dragging the scroll wheel along as you keep turning. This is where most attempts will fail. I end this whole sequence with letting go of the side strafe and a forward movement from the W key to set myself straight and continue forward when I hit the angle that I want. And this is how a successful tap strafe looks for me. I have a near perfect success rate even in the most stressful situations, thanks to practicing the timing of the downwards and then instant upward scroll. This is the way that worked for me. Other movement creators have a different rhythm or a different way of thinking of it, but this is the way that I keep myself in rhythm and consistently output tap strafes. Spending time on this in a firing range and then obviously frequently drilling it in during downtime in game will solidify the timing and make you an expert in tap strafes. I started non-stop tap strafing by the release of Moki Sniper's video 9 months ago, and I tap strafed literally everywhere I went. And now look at me, I'm kinda decent. Now, you don't actually have to turn your view with your mouse for a tap strafe, but it does allow you to chain other techniques into the movement. Plus, it makes you more difficult to hit and it makes you look cool. So why wouldn't you do it? So, now that you learned the fundamentals, what can you do with tap strafing? Like I mentioned, as it is a fundamental movement skill, this unlocks flow and allows you to use some of the following techniques. 180 hops. By constantly repeating the tap strafe 180 move, you can keep bouncing around on the spot and making yourself difficult to hit. These are different than B-hops as you keep your momentum, and thus you swing wider and faster than with a traditional B-hop spam. Ledge jumping. You can quickly juke out your opponents by pretending to jump over a ledge but then returning to it. Octane jump pads. There's plenty of ways you can combo the tap strafe with the Octane jump pad. When you hit the double jump, you can instantly tap strafe and get an extremely sharp turn up to 180 degrees. But by jumping over the jump pad and then using a quick 180 tap strafe, you can completely reverse the direction you will be flying away from. In addition to this, you can actually instantly jump on a jump pad and then instantly 180 to spin around in the air and reverse your direction. Quick direction changes. Covering up high velocity movement like a Pathfinder grapple or a Trident exit can still be used with tap strafing, and chained so you can continue moving throughout the terrain without hitting a stop. You can continue spinning up to an infinite amount of degrees with tap strafe, but I rarely see the point past 360 degrees, and at that point we're already talking about style points. These are cool and all, but these are my favorites. Wall hop into 180. As soon as you hit the wall, quickly tap strafe like usual and you can turn infinite amount of degrees. Descending staircases. Use the tap strafe to keep momentum as you go all the way down the flight of stairs. Skipping the climb animation. Now, skipping the climb animation is already possible with wall bouncing, but by using a short tap strafe you can skip the animation entirely. 180 into wall hop. This one is definitely one favorite over-the-top style move. Just run around an edge, 180 tap strafe, and you can wall hop like usual. But you can also chain this with another wall bounce into tap strafe to continue moving. Zipline hop tap strafe. You can use the tap strafe to control your direction coming out of a zipline, either by zipline super jump or just bouncing on a zipline on the way up. I haven't practiced this more than a few bounces, but I can see someone going for a very specific type of movement using this. While the idea of this video isn't to cover wall hops, properly using tap strafing will let you do wall hops from angles otherwise impossible. In the previous example, I showed you to the extreme, but just by using tap strafe you can set your momentum in the right direction and approach any wall perfectly and hit that perfect max yield wall bounce. Here's me approaching a wall from straight ahead. Getting a good momentum wall hop from this wall would require me to reset and approach slightly from the side. I can sort of get a distance with a strafe, but it's not that efficient. Now, by tap strafing, I can lead myself to the perfect angle and then hit a max distance wall hop, even though I approach the wall from the worst angle possible. Spend as much time as needed watching and trying to repeat the timings of each of these actions in a firing range. Run the video back in slow motion if needed. Keep in mind that while the timing between the jump and the start of the tap strafe should remain the same, the length of which how far you will scroll on the tap strafe completely depends on what type of move you want to do. I suggest just feeling this out and get an idea of what you want to do. Always remember that since the tap strafe is one of the fundamentals of movement in the school of the Otter, it can always be chained with other fundamentals such as slides, grapples, wall hops, and more to create impressive movement combos. There's more possibilities than I can possibly cover in a single video, but hopefully I've set you in the right course. I'd also like to take this moment to ask Respawn to consider to not remove tap strafing. I'm not sure whether they can remove it or, since it's been grandfathered in for Titanfall or not, but if they do take action to, for example, stop the scroll wheel bind or any other fix, this will kill a large part of the movement for some of us movement grinders. Actively tap strafing makes the movement feel awesome, and without tap strafing, the game just does not feel the same. Once you have mastered tap strafing, you will know what I'm talking about and you will not want to go back. What do you think? Do you think this technique is too strong to stay in the game, or should people learn how to use it and shut up? Let me know in the comments. And I'm reminding you guys once again, smash that like button if you haven't. Keep your eyes peeled for future guides coming from this channel, and I'll see you all tomorrow.